masturbation routine. So here sits very firmly in home and with our pilot family, thinking about this complex learner is aroused and is trying to masturbate. We have to be able to establish a routine for that young person at home where they understand the context of when it's okay and the routine of how it's okay.
So she's saying there's a need to establish basically a masturbation routine at home, and it's the school's job to help parents of these children to establish that routine.
Again, Flo Longhorn's book, if any of us who've been in special schools for a long time, go back to the lovely words of Flo, who speaks about this resource and providing support to actually get to orgasm. And there's a really interesting article actually about vibration and supporting complex learners using vibration to come to that point of orgasm.
Well, so continuing the same theme, she's now talking about providing support to actually help the children, the young people, in their masturbating. And she's saying that vibration can help. She refers to this book. I had a look at the book. It's available online. There's a link in the description. I mean, it's over 20 years old. And to be honest, it's just complete rubbish. It's got reflexology. It tells you which toe to massage for sexual problems and aromatherapy. I mean, it's just unscientific nonsense. But it's also got things about massage as well, and about vibration and the place of vibration in massage and in masturbation. Here's a page from the book. The use of vibration is never mentioned in a school context, but it is clearly linked to masturbatory practices in the general public. Sitting on a vibratory cushion, lying on a massage mattress that has an easy to use handset that allows the speed and intensity of the finger-like massage pulse to be controlled is very pleasant and can lead to orgasm. There are many vibratory products being used in school and institutional settings. Generally, they're seen as providing a nice bodily experience and sensory stimulation. They include massage mats, etc., etc. It's a well-known fact that vibration can lead to sexual relief. If the above products were advertised elsewhere, in other words, not in an educational resources catalogue, there would be reference to the effects on sexual tension and stress. There's been little or no mention of the vibratory effects of these products for sexual relief. However, many people who try them can feel the potential of these benefits. It may well be that these products in the future will bear reference to their use in the privacy of a room for very special people. That's the term she uses for people with learning difficulties, pupils with learning difficulties, and provide practical relief. So what she's saying is these things, these massage mats, etc., that vibrate are already used in schools, but the sexual aspect isn't mentioned. But maybe in the future we'll be able to be more open about it and acknowledge that that is basically what they're used for by some pupils in schools. There's also this paragraph in the book when she's been talking about these different devices, ending on a humorous note. And Summers has on sale a talking vibrator that vibrates and also gives out sexual sounds of masculine groans. Not for the faint-hearted, and definitely not for the classroom. Okay, now reading that, what's her problem with this particular sex toy? The problem seems to be the groans. Now what we've got here, there's a whole range of things that are not strictly speaking sex toys, but she's saying they vibrate and they can be effectively used for sexual purposes. She's then saying there's this vibrator that makes noises, that would be out of order. What about all the in-between things that are specifically sex toys? That would be the obvious thing to mention at this point, but she doesn't mention them, probably because she thought that would be too controversial. So I would suggest, following her logic, it would seem to be that providing sex toys as well to pupils in school would meet with her approval. But anyway, but what this is saying, and what the head teacher in my recording is saying, is the teacher should be involved practically in the sex lives of the pupils, providing them with practical assistance in their, I don't know if you call masturbation a sex life, but anyway, but in that side of their lives. Now again, I feel that is crossing a boundary that shouldn't be crossed. Now a few years ago, Channel 4 in one of their terrible programs, they had this former Miss Belgium or something doing sex education lessons in Britain, and part of what she wanted to do was to give out vibrators to classes. So I mean this sort of idea is out there in the sex education establishment, and there's an example of it just starting to come through here.
And who can support this in more of a therapeutic approach? I think our families are saying we find it easier to talk to our NHS colleagues than perhaps our school colleagues. So could we bring together a kind of therapeutic group who help to establish those routines and resources and times and stimulus, etc.?
So the role of teachers is to help families establish the times for masturbation and to establish the stimulus, to provide the stimulus in some way. Right, you can imagine the sort of things that are in mind there. Now, I just want you to judge for yourselves. Do you think there's something wrong here? There's something wrong about a teacher talking about helping pupils to climax while masturbating. Now, you may think these are pupils with special needs. Are they a special case in this regard? Well, I'm still very uncomfortable with this approach. Now, what we've got here with these learners with special needs is an application of the same philosophy of sex education that's promoted to all schools by the SNP. Now, special needs teachers, I'm sure a lot of what you do is great. I'm sure you often have angelic patience and are very caring with the pupils, but I would invite you to take a step back and ask whether the approach to sex education that's embodied in this recording is the right one. And you think it isn't, I would urge you to say something about that. Speak to someone, let your concerns be known. If you're a parent of a special needs child in a special school, to be honest, I'd be very concerned about what might be going on in that school and what conversations might be going on with your child. The same as for every other child as well. Be equally concerned. Now, what I would really like to do is to sit down with someone, talk about this, debate it, put forward the point of view, let's see where we get to. But of course that never happens. This is Scotland. This is the debate desert. I could write to everyone involved in this, the Teacher Involved Education Scotland, the RSHP.Scot resource providers, I could write to them all. In fact, I've written to a lot of them already and say, please could we talk about this? Could we do debate? No, they never will. They never will. So what we have to do is raise the issues with the public, take it into the political arena, because that's where it's coming from. The problem ultimately is the SNP and the weak opposition parties around them. So it is challenging at the political level. So to support us in doing that, join the Scottish Family Party right now via the link below. Right, before we go, a couple of things to mention. Coming up next week on Thursday, we're involved in a protest outside the Scottish Parliament about the SNP's transgender guidance for schools that says about keeping secrets from parents, etc.